Hi everybody and welcome back to Lost Genre Reddit Stories. This post is from the subreddit Am I the A-hole and it's by user FrustratedKoala42069. Am I the a-hole for laughing in my ex's face and calling her struggles karma for choosing her manipulative friend over me? I'm 28 male who was dating Kelly, 27 female, for 3 years, planning to propose with an engagement ring and a luxury vacation. However, her best friend, Nat, 27 female, was always a problem. From the start, Nat disliked me and tried to break us up by falsely accusing me of cheating and convincing Kelly I was controlling. This caused many arguments, but Kelly always defended Nat. In January 2024, I reached my limit. We were celebrating my birthday and Kelly invited Nat despite my objections. Nat dominated the conversation, talking about her financial issues. I asked Kelly to intervene, but when she tried, Nat accused her of not caring and then attacked me, calling me controlling. I lost my temper, calling her a manipulative bitch. Nat physically assaulted me, leaving bruises. The day was ruined, and back home, I gave Kelly an ultimatum, either me or Nat. Kelly argued it was unfair to make her choose. We fought, and when Kelly said I provoked Nat by insulting her, I told her to leave. After threatening to call the cops, she finally left. I packed all of Kelly's belongings, including everything I had bought for her since she had lived off my money for 2 years. I texted her to pick up her things, and when she arrived, I handed them over without speaking. Later, Nat texted calling me a jerk for keeping the gifts. Kelly also texted calling me stingy. Angry, I sent her photos of the expensive engagement ring and vacation tickets I had bought to show what she missed out on because of Nat. Then I blocked her. Fast forward to September. Kelly showed up at my place looking awful and begged me to take her back. She admitted she had made a huge mistake. After we broke up, she got her own apartment but realized how manipulative Nat was. Nat kept guilt-tripping her into giving her money and eventually moved in with Kelly after getting evicted. Things got worse. Nat started using drugs, invited shady people over, and Kelly noticed cash and valuables, including her grandmother's necklace, were stolen. When she confronted Nat, Nat physically assaulted her, and 2 days later, Kelly was evicted because of Nat's behavior. Now homeless, jobless, and broke, Kelly apologized, saying she would do anything to get back together. I felt a sense of satisfaction and told her it was karma for choosing Nat over me. I asked her to leave, threatening to call the police if she didn't. Kelly told mutual friends and they think I was too harsh given the situation. They suggest I apologize or even consider taking her back. Now I'm conflicted. Should I apologize to keep the peace with my friends? Or am I justified in not taking her back or apologizing? Am I the a-hole? Well, OP, I'm a firm believer that being courteous doesn't take away from being courageous. This means that you could have still told her, you know what, it's not gonna happen, we're never getting back together, please don't contact me again, there's a reason why I blocked you, without having to laugh in her face or calling it karma or whatever. I mean, I'm sure she knows that it's on her. And because of that, I think your friends are half right, half wrong. They are absolutely wrong in that you should consider taking her back. You ended the relationship, it's over, it's done. Move on. But I do think they have a point in that you might have been a bit too harsh. Sure, the schadenfreude is real because you were proven right, but still, as I said in the beginning, being courteous doesn't take away from being courageous. And what do you guys think? Let me know in the comment section, and now let's move on to the community comments. Trailsia says, not the a-hole. Lol dude, you did everything right. And don't let that moron, Kelly, back in your life either. I love how you laughed in her face basically. She effed around and found out. As for your friends, remind or tell them she chose a woman who physically assaulted her over you. Don't apologize. Please don't. Even if just because this random Reddit user, Tracilia, would find it very annoying if you did. Smiley face. But seriously, if your friends persist, block them and find better friends. Probably best to get away from Kelly's trashy circle anyways. C Comparison 6543 says, Kelly's realizing her BFF's a train wreck and suddenly she wants you back? Yeah, no thanks. You dodged a bullet. Her life falling apart isn't your problem, it's her karma. Your friends might feel bad for her, but you don't owe anyone an apology or a second chance. You're definitely not the a-hole. You set boundaries. She picked chaos. No takebacks on that. And Crystal Cascade says, not the a-hole. She picked her toxic friend over you and now she's facing the fallout. You don't owe her anything and honestly, it's hard not to feel a little satisfied after that. No need to apologize or take her back. Just move on and be done with it. Additional information from OP's comments. Apart from the Nat problem, our relationship was pretty good. I couldn't include much details because of the character limit in the sub. Apart from the material aspect, she had been really cool throughout the duration of the relationship. She was invested emotionally in the relationship. We split chores around the house and all. The only thing she didn't contribute was money. She was working, but her earnings and mine had a big difference. I can afford to splurge as I also have received inheritances. I was the one who asked her to move in after about a year. When I saw her financial condition, I knew that even if she contributed to the bills, that amount wouldn't even make a dent in the lifestyle we, especially my lifestyle, had. So I decided to take over the expenses because I actually saw a future with her. In the end, she chose to support a person who assaulted me physically and who tried to ruin a good relationship for no good reason. She called me the instigator despite the fact that her friend was the one who verbally attacked me. It might be just one issue, but it was a big one. OP's edit. I've decided to talk to Kelly once and for all and tell her to leave me alone. I'm gonna apologize for taking pleasure in her misery, not to please my friends, but just because I want to get over with this as soon as possible. I've set up a meeting at a busy public place tomorrow. I also took the advice of my elder sister. I've always turned to her for advice. I'll update and let you guys know how the talk goes. I'm hoping to close this chapter of my life forever. Peace. Alright, so the community agrees that OP is not the a-hole and that he shouldn't apologize. But OP decided that it was best to apologize so that he can move on from this in a clean way. So now, let's move on to the update to see how this story ends. Hey guys, I'm back. I took some suggestions from the comments and met Kelly a few hours after writing the post. I realized by reading a few comments that I was in the wrong for holding my financial problems as a point of contention. I told Kelly that I was sorry for how I responded to hearing her struggles. I also said that I had struggled to come to terms with the fact she had chosen Nat over me. I said that it was not possible for us to get back together, but that I would help her for old time's sake. I've decided to help her with the rent for a small place for 6 months. I told her not to get her hopes up about getting back together. I also told her that if she got involved with Nat again, I would have no choice but to withdraw my support. She got really emotional and apologized for everything that happened and promised to stay away from Nat. She expressed her gratitude and told me that she'll respect my wishes this time. We parted on a good note with her thanking me for caring for her after everything she had done. A few mutual friends came to know about our talk a few minutes after we parted. Some called and chastised me for not taking her back. I was done with them at that point. I've cut the 3 of them who said that I was an entitled jerk for not taking her back. I'm hoping that this is the last update. Thank you all for your advice and input. Willoughby, I think you did a lot more than just apologize. I don't know if I would have done exactly the same as you did, but well, if it helps you move forward, then all the better, right? Take care, OP, and thanks for sharing. Now, let's move on to the next post that also has an update. This post is from the subreddit Am I the A-hole, and it's by user HeftyT2143. Am I the a-hole for telling my father that it was his fault he missed my son's first birthday party? My son turned 1 this past weekend. On Sunday, my husband and I threw a birthday party for him at a local kids venue. We confirmed the date with both the venue and our guests a few months ago. One of those guests was my father. Back when I informed him of the date, he told me he'd come. A few days before the party, he asked if there was any way for me to reschedule it. I said no, as we'd already confirmed everything with the venue. My father then told me he'd be late to the party because there was an event at his girlfriend's church on the same day and she wanted him to attend. I should say that my immediate family, including my father, is technically Catholic, but none of us practice it. However, my father's girlfriend is very religious, like Jesus as her phone wallpaper religious. Since they started dating a little over a year ago, my father has been attending church with her on a semi-regular basis. He has explicitly told me that he doesn't like it, but does it to make her happy. I told my father I was fine with him being late, as long as he came to the party at some point. He said he'd show up as soon as the church event was done. A few hours before the party ended, my father texted me the event was still going and he thought it would be in poor taste for him to leave early, so he probably wouldn't be able to come. I didn't hear from him again that day. On Monday, my father called me to explain that the event went on for longer than he expected. He didn't apologize but asked if I was angry with him, and I said yes. He said he had no way of knowing the event would last as long as it did, but that's not what I'm upset about. I told him he still chose to prioritize an event he didn't even want to attend over his grandson's first birthday party, made several other choices that led him to completely miss the latter, and didn't inform me about any of that until the last minute. All of those decisions were his, so the fact he ultimately didn't come to the party was his fault. My father is still refusing to apologize and insists I have no right to be angry over something he had no control over. I'm starting to feel odd about this. My husband is on my side, but my sister told me I'm being dramatic. Am I the a-hole? No, OP, I would be upset too for two reasons. One, he missed my son's birthday, like, yeah, grandpa, good job. And two, zero accountability on him. If I would have been in your shoes and you would have asked me if I was angry, I probably would have said like, I'm not that angry, I'm more disappointed that a man your age can't take accountability for his actions and basically has once again driftwood syndrome, which is when you put yourself in a situation then claim you have no control over what's going on around you and you just float about on other people's whims. You made the decision to go to that church event. You made the decision to stay there for longer. The reason you're calling is because you know you're wrong and now you're guilty, but you want me to clean your conscience and I won't. And OP, tell your sister to shut up and mind her own business. And what do you guys think? Let me know in the comments section, and now let's check out the community comments. Old West 8860 says, not the a-hole. Your father is an adult and he made a choice to attend a different event. He asked if you were upset and you answered him honestly. He chose his girlfriend over his grandchild. It's understandable to be disappointed in him and upset that he made the choices he's made. It's very possible he'll do this again in the future. I do think hanging on to your anger only eats away at you though. Doesn't seem to be bothering him at all that much. Make peace with the fact that he's going to choose the girlfriend. Adulting sucks sometimes. And OP responds, I don't plan on hanging on to my anger or anything, but I'm definitely still upset. My father has an odd work schedule, so this isn't the first important event he misses, but it's the first he chose to miss. No Introduction 3808 says, not the a-hole. It would be in poor taste to leave early. No, it wouldn't, unless he was giving a speech at the end or had an important role like organizing it. It would be very understandable to leave to see his grandchild for their birthday. If anyone at church judged him for it, then maybe they should reread the Bible and learn how to be less judgmental. Tough Combination 37 says, not the a-hole. He made his choice, asked if you were upset, was told yes, you were, to which he said, well, actually, I was expecting you to placate my feelings about missing the party and prioritizing my girlfriend, who is an adult, over my grandson. Don't. You seriously do not need to soothe his feelings. Say to him, clearly, once more, I'm upset you chose to miss the party. Why you missed it is beside the point. It's not like you were in the ER with a ruptured spleen after a massive car wreck. You were with your girlfriend. Period. He doesn't get a free pass on your feelings just because he values his own comfort over yours. And OP responds, during that first phone call, it did kind of feel like he thought he was a victim, as if missing his grandson's birthday party was something that had happened to him, not something his own decisions had led to. So the community agrees that OP is not the a-hole and that OP's dad is taking no accountability because it was his choice. So now let's move on to the update to see how this story ends. Hey guys, I've intended to update sooner, but I've been busy these days. I think my main takeaway from your comments was that it's not my job to placate my father's feelings. He made several conscious decisions that led him to miss the birthday party. He had the right to make those choices, but the consequences were indeed his fault. After deliberating for a while, I called my father to discuss the subject again. I told him I don't expect him to apologize and I won't hold resentment towards him forever, but he can't expect me to pretend his actions didn't anger me or that it wasn't his fault. We had a huge discussion about it. Throughout all of it, my father kept trying to play the victim. He'd talk about how he wanted to come to the party and was upset he'd missed it. At one point he said, "You don't understand, I didn't want to go to the church." I told him I don't care. What matters is that he did. He could have told his girlfriend he didn't want to go, but he didn't. He could have left the church early, but he didn't. He could have prioritized his previous commitment and not attended the event in the first place, but he didn't. Everything he did that day was within his control. I won't get into the specifics of the discussion itself, but I will say that it took a while. I explained that if he wants to prioritize his girlfriend over his grandchild, the least he can do is be upfront about it. That means either not making promises he can't keep or acknowledging his responsibility when he makes regretful decisions. My father did end up apologizing and, more importantly, taking accountability. I forgave him, but I intend to be very wary from now on. Looking back, I don't feel like I was ever able to truly rely on my father. Back then, he would miss events because he had a complicated work schedule. But now that I know he's also capable of doing that willingly, I don't want to enable it. If my father ever prioritizes anything, be it a girlfriend or an event, over a commitment he made to my son again, I will stop inviting him. Same goes for any children my husband and I have in the future. I've informed my father of that and he agreed. His girlfriend, from what I've heard, is pissed at me, but I could care less. I think my father told her he's not going to her church anymore. I can't be certain, but he told me he wanted to do that. Her and I are cordial with each other, but far from friends. I wouldn't say she acts territorial over my father, but there have been times in the past in which she looked a little jealous of the rest of the family. My son is the first baby born to my father's side of the family in years, so he's been getting a lot of attention. I don't think she likes me much, but it's got more to do with the fact that we are very different people. Thinking back, I'm pretty sure every life decision I've told her about was met with an awkward silence. Anyway, this will be my only update. I don't think I have anything else to add. Thank you for your feedback on my last post. Nicely done, OP. You managed it in a way that you were able to tell your dad everything you wanted, you're not angry, you're just moving on, and now anything that happens will always be on him. So here's wishing you the best in the future. Thanks for sharing, OP, and take care. And now let's finish this video with a quick mood booster post. This post is from the subreddit Malicious Compliance, and it's by user RadRacer513. Get a better job offer? Fine. Worked at Company A for over 8 years, to the point I had no intentions of going anywhere else and planned to retire with them in around 30 years, as long as they kept treating me fair. Reviews came up and everyone in my team was given a lackluster raise, even though we had improved the program from years behind on contracts to delivering 2 months ahead. I had taken on tasks that should have been distributed across multiple engineers, but they didn't want to pay extra engineers, so they became my tasks instead. After the raises were dished out, my team confronted our manager and told him how disappointed we were. His response was, "Get a better job offer and we'll discuss things." So I did just that. I found a better job at a smaller company where I would get a 20% raise and less responsibility. Once I had my offer letter, I turned it in, along with a month notice of my resignation. Manager wanted to discuss what it would take to keep me. I met him with a list of all my accomplishments, which he already had from review time, and told him I believe a better raise was justified. I told him 2 months ago, that's what it would have taken to keep me. Today, you have to beat this offer of a 20% raise and less responsibilities. He responded with, he can't get anywhere close to that. I should have told him I wasn't satisfied, etc. He then went through the list of my accomplishments and stated how half of them weren't required for my position. Cue compliance number 2. I asked for what was required of my position and did just that the remainder of my time there. Now I've got a better job with fewer responsibilities and better pay, and a boss who doesn't try to gaslight them. Friends in Company A tell me how they still haven't shipped any new products since I left. 3 months ago, so now they're behind. Multiple people have already left, and the remaining people are looking for new jobs. Well, he decided to be an ass about it and challenge you. You said challenge accepted and beat him. Congratulations, OP, and thanks for sharing. And that's it for today's video. Thank you so much for taking the time to watch it. Now, if you've gotten to this point in the video, I assume that you like these stories that I'm reading out. So here are a couple more that you might enjoy. And if you don't have any time to watch another story right now, save it for later. And also, don't forget to hit that subscribe button.